guys, and welcome back to my Mental Health Mondays. This is the first video I have actually filmed with my new hair. If you want to go and see the vlog where I dyed my hair purple, then I will leave that in the description below. But for today with my Mental Health Mondays, I thought I would do a little story time video. It's a story about how I got diagnosed, because I feel like this is something that maybe a lot of you can relate to, not getting a diagnosis for years and years and years. You may even be at the beginning of your mental health journey and you're looking for a diagnosis then. So the first time I went to the doctors for my mental health was when I was about 16. I think I'd finally plucked up the courage. I just started college and I had an amazing life. Great family, boyfriend, friends, everything was new and exciting, but there was something wrong with me. I went to the doctors and they just did the standard procedure where they got me to like fill out a form, and pretty much that first initial consultation they basically said to me, do you want to go down like the therapy route or the medication route? And because I was far too anxious to speak to someone about it, I decided to go down the medication route, which I feel is the same for a lot of people, and also a lot of people are pushed to go down the medication route because it's the only option that's readily available for them. Anyway, so yeah, basic questionnaire they give you, and I think at the time she just said, oh, you know, you're probably depressed with a little bit of anxiety. Fast forward a few more months, I was on antidepressants and I finally decided that I wanted to do some therapy, and my doctor has shown me this thing called iTalk, which is like a phone counselling service. If you've watched all of my mental health videos, you'll know that things did not end up well with them. Basically, yeah, they just took everything that I said out of context, sent the police around my house, and it was a big huge fiasco. I ended up coming off my medication at this point, so still hadn't really got a proper diagnosis because I'd literally only had one session with iTalk and then everything went rubbish. And then in time I had my breakdown. When I was really ill, my parents dragged me to the doctors in my pajamas and I got put on antidepressants. So I'm not really sure if I got a formal diagnosis at this point. I think again it was just like depression because I just wasn't getting out of bed. So fast forward a few more months, I just carried on going downhill and I actually got put into a psychiatric ward. Whilst in there, they gave me the diagnosis of severe depression. I was obviously having like suicidal thoughts. The reason I was in there is because I tried to kill myself so many times. Anxiety, I still had a bit of that on the side, but I think depression at this point was the main focal point, so that is what they treated me for in there. I did CBT, I did like group therapy and stuff, and then I turned 18. So of course when you turn 18 you are then an adult, so I got passed on to the adult team and there was no beds in the adult hospitals near me, so I just had my treatment at home. I'd have people come and see me. So yeah, oh my god, my psychiatrist, as soon as I moved to the adult team, I literally hated her so much. She had 1,000,001 books on her wall. She had all of these graphs, all of this research and stuff to tell me about, oh, other people are like this and blah blah blah, but there was no like personalized treatment or personalized like diagnosis. She kind of just like ticked off a few boxes and said, okay, yeah, you're depressed. I was with that team until I was about 21, and it wasn't until I started seeing this amazing support worker that they supplied me with that they assigned to me, that my actual diagnosis came to light. So this had taken me a good lot of different psychiatrists and psychologists and therapists and hospital stays and whatnot to get to this point of actually this woman was only like I say only, like obviously she was trained really, and she was so good at her job. She helped me through a lot of things. For her to say, do you know what, Maddie, I think the actual diagnosis that you should be given is borderline personality disorder. And when she said this to me, I was like, what? Like, what is that? This was the first time I had heard of I don't know, like I just thought, yeah, depression and anxiety, I could relate to a lot of symptoms of them, so that's what I had. It wasn't until she started telling me about it and she said, be careful with the kind of research that you do, and like she printed me off a load of information on it. I'm not even sure if that formally went on my diagnosis. So anyway, that takes me to the most recent psychiatrist that I have been seeing. So I started with him 2 years ago because basically I'd just stopped with the NHS services because all they did was supply me with like a support worker, which was great, but we ended up literally just having like a chat, and they weren't necessarily trained in the area of therapy that I was looking for. I didn't tell him anything about like what diagnosis I've been given. I literally just told him like my story. And then yeah, one day he was like, Maddie, have you ever been given a formal diagnosis? And I was just like, yeah, blah blah blah. They've always told me that I've had anxiety and depression, but actually last year my support worker said that it could have been this, and he said, I agree. He said, this is what it is. It's a weird one because I was getting better and I am a lot better now. So many of those behaviours I don't exhibit anymore. So it's this thing where obviously that was my diagnosis, but I didn't actually get it until I was a lot better, if that makes sense. So it was kind of judging on my past behaviours, and obviously yeah, you do have like slip ups and stuff, and like still some of the things on that list of symptoms still do affect me. I think it's the same with like all categories of all illnesses. You can wait for so long to find out exactly what it is. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful in some way. Please do give it a thumbs up, and also please leave me suggestions for future mental health videos. I will see you soon, and goodbye.